Hello, welcome to this video. So this is just a short one based off the last video that I just did, which was practical tips for grounding. Now, that was a video that got a lot of interaction, a lot of comments, and they were really wonderful to hear how that video really helped put a pragmatic, practical, and tangible concept to grounding. And then one of the beautiful souls on there asked a really beautiful question, right? And that was just for me to go into a little bit more detail as to what grounding actually is. And I asked for a little bit more clarity, like what capacity did they want that information? And they went on to explain, well, we often get told grounding is where you're visualizing roots going into the earth. But as was mentioned in the previous video, visualization alone doesn't really get you there. I was like, oh, okay, it's a really potent and poignant topic. So let's just take a couple of minutes to talk about that. If you haven't seen the first video, I would recommend watching it, because this video is literally going to be short and to the point, just to answer that add-on question. So the reason why just visualization alone doesn't really help us ground is because, and of course the word grounding is going to mean and resonate in some different capacity for each individual. So see what that means to you. But to me, grounding is actually about bringing your energy, your mind, your soul, all of who you are back into your body. That's what it means to me. And I know when I'm not grounded, when I'm feeling quite static, if I'm feeling a little bit clumsy, if I'm feeling a little bit like I'm stumbling over myself or stumbling over my words or dropping things, or even have physical static charge, like setting off lights or electricity. If I find that is happening, then visualization isn't really going to get me back to being inside my body, because the way that we want to bring ourselves back into our body is by inviting our mind to join us there. So that's why we spent some time talking about the neurochemistry and biochemistry, what it is to actually be static on an electrical nature, because we are electricity, right? But visualization, what you're actually doing is you're sending your mind out of your body in a visualization. You're disembodying, right? So you might be, and that might be a really good feeling, that might help open the heart. And personally, I kind of see when we do a visualization of any kind, you're opening the heart and you're introducing different concepts that's allowing a new pathway to form. And that can be really beneficial for healing meditations, visualizations, etc., etc. Even going as far as past life or multidimensional regressions. What we're doing is we are allowing the mind to utilize itself in a different way. But when we are not grounded, or to phrase that in what that means to me, when we are not in our body, when our energy is static, our mind needs to come back home. So to do that, I either meditate, not with a visualization, just with a meditation called Anapana, which is a Buddhist meditation. And you're just focusing on one single point as you breathe in and out through the nose. I do that for 20 minutes. Or I'm going to do something to move my body. The last video, we spoke about what actually is happening with electrons and things like that. So like I say, check that video out. But when we hear the term grounding and we kind of go, oh, well, maybe I'll visualize roots going down through me. What's really happening is that it's not necessarily that you're grounding your energy, but you're opening your heart. And when your heart is open, your energy does naturally come back in anyway, a little bit. But it might only be for a certain amount of time. It might only be in a way that really calms us, and it might not feel like we are back in our body. And this really has impact when there are cosmic waves of energy coming in. Schumann resonance is spiking, or solar flares are happening, or there's a cosmic storm. And that's when we really feel it. I had this experience actually over this weekend, where on the Sunday, we had a solar flare on Samhain, on Halloween. Well, actually, I think it was the Friday. So it was on the new moon. We had this really cool solar flare. And I always feel the solar flares as they're building. I feel them on the day. But then I feel them physically a couple of days later, 1 to 3 days later. And that's usually when the Schumann resonance picks it up. So the physicality of us picks it up. And it was really interesting because on the Saturday night to Sunday morning, I was awake the whole night. There was so much energy moving through me. I was awake. Now, because my body hadn't rested and my mind hadn't rested together, it hadn't been quality rest. It was very disrupted rest, which meant that my mind was very disrupted through it. So you can sleep and have a peaceful night's sleep. You can meditate and find that restoration through it. And that will nourish you and it'll nourish your mind and your body. But if you don't get that for whatever reason, then, your energy field might be a little bit outside of itself. So I always notice this, like the first signs for me that I'm not as grounded as I'd like to be is I start to feel static. But what does that mean to me? Is it means that I feel groggy when I wake up. That's not a normal state of being, but most people feel groggy when they wake up. We haven't slept well, we haven't put the right foods in our body, we haven't balanced out the energy field that we have. And so it is normal for people to feel groggy. That's not normal for me. It used to be, it's not anymore. I know my body differently now. So when I wake up and I feel groggy and I'm slow to start and I'm bumping into things, which is what happened on Sunday, I was going, oh, I'm really not in my body. And it was one of those really interesting days where I actually, I really potentially did a little bit of damage to my body as well. At one point when I knocked into something, I was like, oh, wow, okay, that was poignant and pertinent. And I want to tell you right now, meditating and visualizing roots going down through my feet into earth, that was not going to be the thing to ground me that day. The thing to ground me that would have been drinking more water, moving my body, getting out in the elements, connecting with the earth in a more physical way where my body, where my mind is present in time and my body is experiencing something living. And what I mean by living is that when we're in a home, when we're in a room, like I'm in a room right now, it's full of energy, but unless I'm moving that energy, unless I've got windows open, unless I'm clearing the space in here, the energy is going to build up, right? It's not as living as what it is if you're outside. So it was great. So I went outside and I did some stuff. Saw a friend. It was great. And ate some food as well. I ate some heavier food than what I usually eat because that's just what I needed in that particular day. And as soon as I did that, my body went, oh, okay, great. That's helping me ground. It's bringing my center of gravity back down. I think sometimes there's a misconception that if you're working with energy or the astral realms or things like that, then you're not going to be grounded. But personally, I actually think that's bad spiritual practice. We should be, this is just my personal opinion. Of course, don't take it to heart if it doesn't resonate. Don't worry about it. But I personally feel like with the work that I do, I'm spending so much time in the astral realms that if I'm not balancing it appropriately with physical movement and being physically in my body, then I'm going to start to tell because the quality of my work will drop, for one, and I will be less in my body for two. So I'll be bumping into things more and tripping over myself more and not being clear more and having a slower start to my day, right? If you are in the line of work or if you in your day-to-day are sending your mind out into the astral or quantum realms, so if you're visualizing, if you're connecting with non-physical beings, that's what you're doing. You're sending your mind out of the home of your body. So you need to increase your practice and do it at the start of the day to make sure that your body has its basic needs met. The body, which is what your soul, your spirit moves through, weaves through, dances through, lives through, your body needs to have its basic needs met first. So they're your basic things such as, food, water, movement, right? Moving the energy through your body so that all the meridians are clear, because you cannot be the clear channel if your body is blocked up. Just like you cannot sing a smooth note without lubricating those chords, the windpipe. You cannot blow a clean note on the flute if there's something blocking it, right? If the strings are out of tune on a guitar, for example. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that answered the question, what is grounding to a deeper level? It's just about being in the body, whether your mind is in the body for one, because the mind is non-physical as well, right? The brain's physical, but the mind and the thoughts are non-physical. And we want as much of that to be inside the body as possible, because when that is the case, subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind can line up. When they can line up, super conscious can come through. Can be in flow state, aligned. So I hope that helps. Okay, sending you all so much love, and I will see some of you very soon as well, because we have the next workshop coming up is on the 14th of November. That's the second part of our Inner Child series, which is going to be really fun, because workshop number 2 of 3 is all about creativity and joy. So that's going to be super fun. And the new Lemurian collection has just launched on my sister page, Ascension Crystals of the One True Heart, or Ascension Crystals Dorset on Instagram. Have a little look at those, because there's some really beautiful and powerful Lemurians on there, as well as some really incredible true heart, higher heart, true heart telepathy towers that you're just going to love. Anyway, that's all from me now. Have a